Hey Pat, here's a quick video where I mount the lock actuators. Sometimes anyway. Doing this with my phone, so that's a this one has the door poppers on it and the whole shaved door handle deal. You see all the grease on the I put grease on everything, man, anything that moves. But anyway, there's the that's where I have it mounted, and you can see it going basically just up to the lock rod mechanism. You can put it there, or you can actually put it up higher. Just it needs to pull vertically, and then you just run the wires, you know, through the door like you would anything else you're putting in the door. I've actually mounted them here with these two screws before in the past, which is actually the original. I don't know. Oh no, that's where I have the. If you're not, that's where I mount the door poppers. You can see how I use the same holes as the stock door lock. Let me go show you on this car. Actually, I just got this one last night. This beauty out of Miami. Just another parts car. I haven't even gone through it yet. I'm excited though. Lots of great stuff. But I noticed this door is apart, so you can kind of see pretty well. There's the stock one. You pretty much can just screw it in anywhere. I mean, depending on how nice you want the the install to be, or if you don't mind putting a couple little self tappers or however you want to do it through there. But I have undone these screws. These are actually threaded. This is threaded into here. So you can mount it there on that outside and let it pull this way. So there you go. Hope that helps, man. And just give me a call or something if you have any more questions. Sorry for the crappy video. Okay, Pat asked me to do a quick video of how to actually wire up the door lock actuators. I just probably pieced these together, but I took a couple shots of where I mount them in the cars, etc. So I wanted to give them just a quick how I wire these things up. Here's the actual door lock. This is how it comes. There's some other pieces. This is all you need. You slide this rod through here, and you cut it to length, whatever you need. You bend it, you stick it through the hole on the actual original door lock mechanism, and it pushes and pulls, and that's pretty damn simple. This is only 2 wires. It's reverse polarity, like a lot of the window motors that were retrofitting into these cars and stuff. A lot of the old Lincoln stuff or 3-wire motors. So you had one that was always ground, and then one was just hot going one way, hot going the other way. A lot of stuff, most stuff nowadays is reverse polarity, so you have to wire up 2 relays to make that happen. You can do a reverse polarity switch, but it's a little more complicated. So I'm just showing Pat how and I guess I'll post this, so showing everybody how I wire up these door locks, and I'll try to keep this quick. This is literally the 4th time I tried to make this video, and the problem is I always want to try to explain everything and how things work and why they work the way they work, and it turns out to be a damn hour-long tutorial. So I probably will make a video of relays and how they work, explain the difference between the old style and the new style, and how they all connect up and everything, because if you're going to own a Lincoln, especially a convertible, you've got to start getting an understanding of how relays work if you're going to be working on it yourself. I realize a lot of guys, they just want like a diagram. This is where you plug this wire, and they don't care why. But that kind of bugs me a lot. I don't know, I like to, like I said before, teach a man to fish. So that'll be a separate video. Again, I'm getting long-winded already again. Get something like this. A lot of people like to use these type of deals because they look clean. The relay mounts in here. I don't use them very much. I got a million of them. I usually end up soldering directly on. I got one here, something like this, and this is kind of a crude version, but at least I know this is ugly, but at least I know these connections are never, ever, ever coming off. These sometimes, especially like the Chinese stuff you get off of eBay, sometimes they don't click in there very well, and you don't realize it. You push a relay down in there, and it pops one of these a little bit loose, and you end up having problems. You're chasing down forever. Again, I'm getting long-winded. Basically, in a nutshell, you've got to make a switch like this. Most likely this is the type of deal you're going to use, just normal switch one way, the other way. These are got hundreds of these. These are the ones that a lot of guys are using. I think I did a video on that too, making these your window switches for like a 65s and back, because they fit right in there. A lot of people like that. put some acetone or fingernail polish remover on this, get the white stuff off. Anyway, God, I gotta stay on track, man. I'm terrible about this. So this is how I would wire it up. This is a kind of a ugly thing that I had made as like a test thing for a car that obviously had door poppers, had shaved door handles, did the power windows up and down with the newer style motors, and the door locks. So we'll just use these two to kind of give you an idea. This is the 30 panel, and like I said, there's 100 different ways. I could wire this relay up probably at least 10 different ways and make it accomplish the same thing. So if somebody looks at this and they say, well, I don't do it like that, whatever. This is the way I do it for this particular application. The reason I do it this way, now most people, they take a switch like this and they run a hot wire to the middle there, and when you push it this way, the hot goes this way. You push it this way, the hot goes that way. Well, I don't like to have a lot of hot wires running through my car, and typically the hot wires, you know, are heavier gauge. You can wire this up to do the opposite. You can use the ground wire as the switching wire, and you can use just about any gauge wire. I mean, you could even use like a 20 gauge, you know, ribbon wire that you can fit a whole bunch of wires going into each door. I use, again, getting sidetracked, but I like to run grounds through my car. Lots of grounds running instead of having 100 different hot wires. That's just my, you know, my preference. You can do it however you want. But the short answer for Pat, if you wire it up like this, basically your hot wire is going to be coming in and it's going to the 86 terminal. And you can, you can splice that however you want to. You can do something like this, have your hot wire coming in and splice it like this, and then run it to the 86 terminal and the 87 terminal on the relay, and then run your ground to the 87A, and then the 30 is going to go to one side of the door lock actuator. Your second relay, you wire the exact same way. You can splice them like this. I mean, this isn't a heavy amp thing, so you can get away with doing something like this just to make it simpler. You can run one hot wire going to one relay. Say, let's say you use, it doesn't matter which one, but let's say you use this 86 terminal here, and you run that single hot wire to the 86, and then you splice it here, you splice it here, you splice it here, however you want to do that. You have all four of those terminals coming off of the same wire. You can do a big barrel splice like this, your one hot wire coming in, and run them all four here like that if you wanted to. I do these like you can see here. A lot of times the relays are cheap, so I put a lot of relays. I'd rather put 2 relays in each door, and like I said, only have one hot wire. I usually run like one 10 gauge hot wire into each door. Now a lot of times I'm completely rewiring these cars, like this one here up on the lift, the 64. You know, I'm basically making like pretty much new wiring harnesses altogether. I like to do away with a lot of the old stuff. So like I said, I don't like to have a lot of hot wires. I have one hot wire coming into the door, and it can feed all this. Whatever I decide to run in that door, like in this situation, I've got the window motors, I've got the lock actuators, and I've got a door popper. They're not all running at the same time, so you know you can get away with, even though the door popper kind of pulls a decent amps, you're not going to be popping the locks, you know, popping the doors open and rolling the windows up and locking the doors all at the same time. So you can get away with something like this. Anyway. Now somebody just showed up. Give me a minute. So run it like this, man. You can do this if you want to put 2 relays in each door and only have the one hot wire type deal like that. But if you're basically using almost all factory wiring and you want to just leave everything like that, and you're still going to have to run 2 extra wires to each door. They can be small wires if you're, I mean, I guess they need to be at least 16 gauge. Like I said, this doesn't pull a lot of amps. You can use 12 gauge, 10 gauge if you want. So if you want to mount these 2 relays somewhere under the dash or wherever the hell you want to mount them, and just use 2 relays to run the whole car, and when you hit the button, all the doors are going to lock, and when you hit it the other way, all the doors are going to unlock. You can do it that way. You can keep the original pull lock on the top of the door, and you can mount these where I showed on the bottom. You mount the actuator on the bottom to pull it the other way, where basically the vacuum actuator used to be. This is just way better than that vacuum crap, which usually never works. So just you can wire up these two relays, and basically on each one of these pins you can have 4 wires coming off. Again, however you want to do it. You can solder 4 wires straight to this terminal. You can come off of it and split, you know, something like this. You can come to, I don't know, a terminal block type shit like this or like this. I mean, there's a million ways you can do it. If you wire up the 2 relays like this, on your 30 pin, you're coming off basically 4 wires, 1 to each door off of this relay, and off of this number 30 pin, 4 wires, 1 to each door, if that's how you want to do it. And then these middles are all going to, or in your case, both going to be grounds. You can, like I said, you can splice it however you want. You want both the middles, which is the 87A terminal, to be ground. And then the 85 terminal is going to be coming from your switch. Now again, this is the way I wire it. So I'm using ground as the switch and not the hot. So from your switch, you got a ground wire in the middle and then a ground wire on each side. One is going to come to the 85 terminal on one relay, one's going to go to the 85 terminal on the other relay, and that's going to activate these relays one at a time depending on which way you push the switch, and that's going to activate. So when your ground comes, these are going to be constantly hot. When your ground comes there to 85, it's going to activate this, in this case, unlock relay, and it's going to send juice to all 4 of these wires you've got connected to the 30 here, and that's going to make them all unlock at the same time, make them all lock. So the very quick version, you can run it like this. You can do 87 hot, 86 hot, 87A always ground, the 30 going to all 4 of your door locks, and then the 85 coming from the switch. It's a different way of doing it. Normally, you know, your 86 would be your switch wire, blah blah blah, but you can do it this way, and then that will work. And I don't know, there's the quickest version I can possibly do it. Like I said, it's the 4th video, trying to keep it short, but I'll try to do a diagram. I know that'll probably be a lot more helpful. A lot of people just look at the diagram, do it that way, and like I said, I'm going to do a video about relays later whenever I get a little bit of time. So I hope that helps you out.